A couple days ago, I received a really bad head injury, banging my head onto this pin box. Now this made me realize how important it is to have first aid supplies available, some first aid knowledge, because, you know, in the future we may be boondocking way away from hospitals. Or in a situation like this where we're self-quarantining, and right now I'm very reluctant to expose myself to the ER. Plus the fact, right now I really don't want to take up ER resources to take care of something that Alice and I can take care of ourselves. Okay, in this video I'm going to go over how it happened, Alice performing some first aid on me and taking care of me, what I did to make sure that this does not happen again in the future. Would you know what you would do if this happened to you?
Hey everybody, welcome back. But if you're new, I'm Alice.
And I'm Larry.
And we're Downsizing Makes Sense like the penny. We sold our house mid-February so we could live full-time in our RV. Today, we really debated whether to do this video rather than the video we had planned. But stuff happens, and after posting some pictures on social media and reading the comments, I realized that what we went through could help others. So, honey bunny, how'd you whack your head?
Well, I was moving something from one side of the fifth wheel to the other in the basement and ducked under the fifth wheel like I have a million times. I was moving pretty quick and just wasn't paying attention where the pin box was and nailed my head right into the edge of the pin box. It's a 1/4-inch piece of steel that's very sharp, and it just cut straight into my head. I hit the deck for about 5 minutes. I came into Alice, I had blood on my hands and my head. I'm like, hey honey, I need some help.
So this is where I come in. Blood all over his hands, blood on his head, and I apologize, social media, for those pictures.
And we may show some pictures here, so if you're queasy,
look away. Look away. Which, speaking of queasy, throughout the process of cleaning up the wound, shaving the wound, area, and so on, I had to sit down a few times because I was worse off than him.
Yeah, you were just you had to keep taking breaks because you weren't feeling good.
I'm a wimp.
So some of you may be asking, why didn't we go to the ER? And we were actually asking that ourselves, and it was a decision we thought hard about. And what Alice would do is take pictures and video of the top of my head. I have a lot more experience with head wounds. I've injured my head many times.
Lots of wounds.
And I made the decision not to go to the ER. There's something that we could handle. I had the first aid supplies handy, and I could tell Alice how to fix it. But in a normal situation, when we weren't self-quarantining, I probably would have gone to the ER, and they probably would have thrown a couple of staples in there just to kind of close the wound a little bit.
But that's everyone's decision. We're not saying whether we're right or wrong. It actually was a really quick decision.
Right.
Because, you know how it is. You make a decision.
Yeah, I think that in retrospect, I actually went to work the next day at the hospital, and I worked with a lot of nurses, and I showed them my wound. I showed them pictures of the original injury, and they all said that I probably should have gotten a couple of stitches or some staples, but I probably had done the right thing, but not exposing myself to the ER when we really did take care of it ourselves pretty good. Okay, so I was taking this bag right here, and instead of walking around, I took a shortcut, and I was coming through here. I went straight in. Oops, I just did it again. I went straight into this.
Oh my God, you know what?
What?
I know exactly where you hit. Your hair is right there.
Oh my God, there's hair on it.
That's your hair, that's where you hit.
Oh, that's pretty nasty. Okay, so this is what it looked like when I came into the RV and showed Alice. First thing I did was get under the sink and wash it off so that she can take some pictures and show me what the damage looked like. And this is what it looked like after we washed it off. I knew we'd need to shave some of that hair off, so Alice pulled her little shaver out and cleaned the area off as much as she could so that we could see it. And this is what it looked like after we shaved it off and got it clean. Of course, then we went back and forth with washing it, hydrogen peroxide and then alcohol, and then back with the hydrogen peroxide and the alcohol. And just we cleaned it really well. I was really most worried about infection more than anything. And then we just finished it off with a liberal amount of Neosporin, and then finished it off with a bandage, just basically to hold the Neosporin in place for a couple of days so it could start to heal and I didn't have to worry about infection. After a couple of days, we took the Band-Aid off and cleaned it, and this is what it looks like 2 days after the injury. Okay, this is the edge of the pin box that I want to protect my head from. It's a very sharp edge of this steel right here. It goes all the way down this edge. I'm going to use this E6000 glue that I get from Lowe's. It's a very strong, pliable glue. I also got these noodles at Lowe's. They are about 2.5 inches in diameter, a little smaller than the normal pool ones. I just wash it really thoroughly because I want this glue to adhere really well. Just give it a good clean with some kind of cleaner. Just kind of set the foamy up there and kind of test measure it and cut it to length. Then I'm going to create a split down the length of the foamy because I'm going to put it over that rail. I'm going to use a really liberal amount of glue here. I used an entire tube of glue for both of the sides because you really want this to adhere really well as you're speeding down the highway. You don't want these things flying off. As you can see, I'm also going to put some glue down the split in the middle of the foamy just to add some extra glue and make sure all sides of the foamy are going to make contact with the glue and the pin rail. So I'm just going to fit this over here with the split, kind of rub it back and forth and making sure that that glue is, well spread out and adhering really well. I used a couple pieces of tape here at the bend to make sure that all the gaps were closed between the rail and the foamy. I added some duct tape to the ends to make sure that when I'm speeding down the highway, they don't blow off. Okay, so now I have double protection. I did a video a while ago where I put these foamies on my slide, which protect my head, which actually have protected me many times. But now I'm protected on my pin box too. So now if I'm running under here and I whack my head into the pin box, I am protected and won't have one of these on my head the next time. So these are on there nice and firm. They're not going anywhere. Glued on, permanently added, where the ones on the slide I take on and off when I open and close the slide. I hope you found this video helpful, and if you have a fifth wheel and you duck under the front a lot like I do, really consider putting some foamies on your pin box so you don't whack your head like I did.
Yes, and also, everyone should have a first aid kit. And even if you have a first aid kit, check to see if there's anything that's expired in there. And I was actually really surprised. I searched Amazon and they have first aid kits, Prime. So if you need one, go ahead and get one. And I'm actually thinking of getting a manual because Larry was able to walk me through everything, what to do, but what if he wasn't able to talk me through it?
Or what if I wasn't there?
Or yeah, maybe I hurt myself, but
right.
So it's good to have both, whether you're in a house, RV, whatever it is. So check the links below in the description. And in the comments, if you have a question about something we did, I know nurses and doctors might have a few comments, but we did the best we could with what we had. So please go ahead and leave comments and playlist?
Playlist down here?
Playlist down here, and subscribe here. And please remember, downsizing does make sense.
Yeah, it does.